The application process for support under the COVID Allocation of Resources for Employees Care Program is now open. Just log on to wecare.gov.jm and get started. If you need clarity as to who is qualified or what documents are needed, we have those details in the program. Plus, more details on COVID-19. You're watching Jamaica Magazine, and I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has been working assiduously to help to contain the spread of the dreaded coronavirus COVID-19. And I believe that it is my duty as Minister to encourage employers and business operators to put the proper mechanisms in place to protect workers and customers and themselves. Workers are the most important part of any organization, and they must be given all the necessary information, tools that they require to ensure that they can utilize the best safety and health practices. During this period, workers might be required to be quarantined or isolated for an extended period. In these instances, we are recommending to our employers that you exercise discretion beyond the provision of the Holiday with Pay Act 1974. We are also imploring employers to consider making use of the provisions under the Flexi Work Arrangement 2014 in order to ensure that where possible, staff can work from home, creating far less risk factors. I believe that as a nation, we have a responsibility to work together for a healthy and safe work environment.
The government has been very consistent with ensuring the nation is up to date with the status of COVID-19, as well as measures being implemented to ensure the safety of all. We put together a recap of the last press conference for you.
It has now been approximately a month, 29 days, since we had our first confirmed case of COVID-19, and that was on the 10th of March. We now have 63 confirmed cases out of 907 tests conducted. And relative to other countries in the region, we have been fairly successful in controlling the spread of the disease to this point. We are, however, by no means out of the woods, and neither are we about to become complacent. We must maintain and reinforce the safeguards and measures that have resulted in our successes so far. The strategy of the government, and to be clear, is not to shut down our economy. That is not the strategy of the government. And I want to assure businesses that the government is not seeking to go into a total lockdown. That is not what we want to do. We want you to, in your planning, to be comfortable that the government is moving with great discernment and discretion and consideration. So as we implement the measures, we review them. The ministers can tell you that we review them almost on a daily basis to make sure that we are trying to fulfill the two objectives: contain and slow down the spread of the disease while allowing businesses to operate as much as possible. We have some adjusted orders, therefore, for the curfew from 8 p.m. tonight, Wednesday the 8th of April 2020, to 6 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday the 9th of April 2020, starting from tonight to Thursday. And then from 8 p.m. on Thursday the 9th of April 2020 to 7 a.m. on Friday the 10th of April 2020. During the Easter weekend, the curfew will be from Friday the 10th of April 2020, through Monday, the 13th of April, 2020. The curfew will commence at 3 p.m. in the afternoon and end at 7 a.m. the next morning. In other words, the non-curfew hours, that is the period of time that you will be able to move about freely and conduct the essentials of life, would be from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. daily over the Easter weekend. So everybody should understand that point. Now on Easter Monday, the curfew will start 3 p.m. and ends 5 a.m. Tuesday morning. The new nightly curfew rules after Easter would be 9 p.m. starting on Tuesday to 5 a.m. Wednesday morning, continuing through to the 21st of April 2020. So for Holy Thursday tomorrow, markets will be open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. instead of the normal 6 p.m. closing. On the Saturday following, the 11th of April 2020, markets will be opened from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we will limit the time available for market activities on the Saturday during the Easter weekend. After Easter, we will revert to the previous hours of Sunday to Wednesday, 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Thursdays to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Markets will be closed on Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and Easter Monday. And not just the markets, but the market district as defined. And this would include all areas for transportation hubs where there are vendings and the arcades. All beaches will be closed over the Easter weekend. Every educational institution as defined in the Education Act shall remain closed until the 22nd day of April 2020. It's important that we say it now so that parents are aware that schools will continue to be closed. The next time you will hear from, up until the 22nd of April. And then, as usual, we will give you enough advance notice of a decision to reopen or to close. During the period of the 8th to the 21st of April, the following categories of persons are required to wear a mask that is fitted to cover the nose and the mouth. Persons ill with respiratory or flu-like symptoms. You have a fever to start with. You have a persistent cough. You may have a cold. You might be sneezing persistently. Those are generally the symptoms that we are talking about. But there might be others. You might have difficulty breathing and so forth. Persons caring for someone at home with a flu-like or respiratory illness. 3, senior persons over the age of 65. And persons with comorbidities. These are what we call the pre-existing conditions. Some of them are non-communicable diseases, the hypertension, the diabetes, as we said, respiratory illnesses, and a significant number of Jamaicans have those kinds of pre-existing conditions. During the period from the 8th to the 21st of April 2020, persons are strongly encouraged to wear a mask that is fitted to cover the nose and mouth while in public places. If you are going to go to the market, if you are going to take public transportation, if you have to go to somewhere where there would be a lot of people, not necessarily gathered in tents or crowded, but still a lot of people in that area, wear a mask. With effect from the 8th of April to the end of the 21st of April 2020, the following categories of persons shall remain at their place of residence, except that they may leave their premises once per day for food, medicine, exercise, and other necessities of life. Persons 70 years and over. There is a view that our borders are closed generally, and it is having an impact on trade and the movement of cargo. I want to take this opportunity to say that none of the orders that we have put in place has in any way limited or restricted the movement of cargo and trade generally. Our ports and airports are open, wide open now to cargo.
The general work from home order remains in place and has been extended and modified. So during the period April 8 to April 21, all persons who can work from home should work from home. During that period, an employer may permit the employee who is able to work from home to work from home. And in relation to an employee who is not able to work from home, the employer may nonetheless permit that person to work from home in order to care for an elderly or ailing family member, a child of the employee, if there is no other suitable childcare arrangement available for that purpose. So we have listened to the feedback in relation to how the orders are working generally and what modifications are required. And also during the period April 8 to April 21st, we ask that no adverse consequences be imposed on employees in relation to persons who have attained the age of 70 years or more, or persons who exhibit flu-like symptoms. In other words, do not require them to come to work. And in addition to that, we have imposed a duty on persons who are ill to stay home. So work from home generally, you can make your arrangements with your employer, and we did. Yes, if you're ill with flu-like symptoms or respiratory symptoms in particular, ill with them, not just having them, if you're ill with them. Because we understand, according to the CMO, that a number of persons may have the symptoms generally. So we're looking at the illness. And we maintain the direction that, in relation to the grant of permission to an employee, it shall not count against the leave entitlement of the employee unless otherwise agreed between employer and employee.
I want you to have confidence as well that we will come out of this crisis, that there is life after COVID, and that you should continue your plans for your economic activities and all your other activities. Don't scrap them. Keep on making those plans and seeing how best you can advance those plans, because it is having those plans in place that we will come out of the economic doldrums and have a fast recovery after we have come out of the health crisis.
The government has put in place a COVID allocation of resources for employees care program. It's a measure meant to cushion the effects of the virus on the country's economy. A website has been designed and became operational today to facilitate applications online. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark takes us through the eligibility and application process. Watch this.
My fellow Jamaicans, on March the 17th, I provided an overview of the government's $25 billion stimulus program. On the 5th of April, we published the government's $10 billion CARE program designed to assist in cushioning the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on individuals and on businesses. This pandemic is the worst in over 100 years. And the measures that governments around the world have taken to contain the spread of the coronavirus have slowed economic activity and in some cases brought it to a halt. The government is very concerned about the economic impact of this on Jamaicans and on Jamaican businesses. And we're implementing the CARE program to provide some assistance at this time. While everyone is affected by COVID-19, it is undeniable that some occupation groups, some individuals, some companies are more affected than others. The CARE program is designed to assist those who are most affected, as well as those who are most vulnerable. The CARE program has cash grants for individuals as well as for businesses. The good news is that you can apply directly for a benefit under the CARE program from the convenience and privacy of your home in a few easy steps using a mobile phone or an iPad or a laptop or a computer. There's no need to visit an office. There's no need to wait in a long line. There's no need for lots of paper. We're making it simple, easy, and efficient for you. What is more, the grant will be paid directly to your bank account, or for the compassionate grant, to a remittance company of your choice if you do not have a bank account. If you have been unemployed for some time, or if you are informally employed, or if you are a tertiary student over the age of 18 in need of assistance, or a member of the elderly community, the compassionate grant is for you. You'll need to have your TRN, your date of birth, your address, your mobile phone number to complete the application form. The compassionate grant is a one-time grant of $10,000. If you benefit from a compassionate grant, however, you won't be able to benefit from another grant under the CARE program. If you are a barber, hairdresser, cosmetologist, market vendor, or a bar or nightclub operator registered with a parish council, or if you're a craft vendor or a Juta, Maxi, or JCal operator registered with TPDCO, or if you're a taxi or a bus PPV licensee registered with the Transport Authority, then you should apply for the COVID-19 General Grant. You'll need to have your TRN, your date of birth, your address, your mobile phone number to complete the application form, as well as the license number with either the Parish Council, the Transport Authority, or the Tourism Product Development Company. If you were laid off or terminated on or after the 10th of March due to this COVID pandemic, and you were earning less than or equal to $1.5 million per year, you should apply for the Set Cash program. Have your TRN, your mobile phone number, your address, and the name and address of your former employer, in addition to your bank details, ready to enter. Encourage your former employer to upload a P45 form to verify your employment status. If you're a PATH beneficiary, you can expect your normal payments in April and June, and we'll be adding a new COVID PATH payment in May as well. This will be automatic and no separate application is necessary. If you have a student loan and you're repaying that loan, you do not need to make a payment of interest or principal for the months of April, May, or June of 2020. And this is automatic. No application is necessary. For businesses, we have 3 programs. If you are a small business with sales less than $50 million and you filed your taxes for 2019, you should apply for the Small Business Grant. Go to the section on the website that has a Small Business Grant application and have your TRN and the TRN of your business ready. If you operate in the tourism sector, you can receive a benefit for every worker you keep on your payroll who earns less than $1.5 million per annum. Also, if you operate a business in the tourism sector, you can also qualify for a tourism grant by making an application to the COVID Tourism Grant Committee. The government is working hard to provide a cushion for Jamaicans during these uncertain times. The online care platform did not exist before and had to be built from scratch in record time to be able to deliver these benefits to Jamaicans. We are grateful to the hard-working team at the Ministry of Finance, at Tax Administration Jamaica, the Accountants General's Department, and eGov Jamaica Limited. When we come together as a society, as has been evident over the past few days and weeks, with God's help, there is nothing that we cannot do, and there is nothing that we cannot overcome. This is a time where all of us citizens of Jamaica need to be our brothers and sisters keepers. Let us pull together, rally around each other, and support each other, and show that we care.
My fellow Jamaicans, many of you would have heard by now of the decision to extend the closure of Jamaica's borders for an additional 14-day period beyond the 7th of April. As with all our decisions, it will be kept under review. However, as explained by the Prime Minister last week when making the announcement, most persons who have tested positive for the coronavirus in Jamaica are Jamaicans who either travelled from various locations overseas or had been in contact with those travellers. In fact, that's how the virus was introduced to Jamaica and largely how it has spread locally. Our public health authorities have advised that some of the more than 5,000 persons who returned to Jamaica after March 18 and who failed to report to the Ministry of Health and worse, failed to self-quarantine are now our greatest risk for further spread of the virus. As I speak to you now, we have 58 confirmed cases of COVID-19 with several test results pending. We have close to 60 persons in isolation and close to 40 in government quarantine. While our numbers may sound low in comparison to what obtains globally, they must be considered in the context of the current capacity of our health system. We're seeking to strengthen our health system even while we continue to deal with the dengue outbreak and flu season. You see what's happening all over the world in countries with even stronger systems when their health system gets overwhelmed. You'd probably agree that none of us want that to happen here. So we have to think very carefully about taking any action that could cause a rapid increase in our number of confirmed cases. This makes the control of our borders even more necessary at this time. As your government, we fully understand the concerns and fears of Jamaicans across the world who are not able to come home to family and friends right now. Regrettably, we are all experiencing extremely difficult times, whether abroad or at home. And while the measures that have been put in place are uncomfortable and even distressing, we know Jamaicans appreciate the importance of taking these interim measures to fight the spread of COVID-19. Here at the Ministry, through our overseas missions and our honorary consuls, we are responding to your many messages. From students, workers on the H-2B program and those on private contracts, workers in the cruise industry, persons who traveled on vacation and now wish to return, as well as other citizens. We are responding to your queries as best as possible, including making follow-up calls to give advice for your particular circumstances, purchase and delivery of personal protection care packages, making representation for accommodation through the goodwill of the Jamaican diaspora, or outreach to employers for special arrangements. We are, of course, pleased to note that some persons have been able to stay with family members or friends. Having learnt of several Jamaicans who were stranded at airports following the cancellation of their flights, we were able to facilitate alternative arrangements for them and understand that to date they have safe accommodations, even though anxious to be home. There are others who are currently working with cruise lines which are unable to dock due to stricter travel restrictions, or those which have docked but are no longer cruising. We are in contact with their sub-leads and have been advising them as best as possible, with the assurance that they are safe, even as we understand that they would prefer to be home. Regarding students across the Caribbean, depending on the requests made, arrangements have been made for their phones to be topped up, outreach to be provided by local associations, and groceries provided where needed. Thankfully, we understand that all of the persons who have been able to assist directly or to advise are in good health. We encourage them to do everything to maintain that status. Many of you have expressed your appreciation for the various forms of support provided in this challenging time. We will continue to assist where we can, when we can. We're also aware of concerns regarding out-of-status visa issues arising from this unplanned extended stay overseas by students, seasonal workers, and visitors. We want to assure you that the government has made contact with various countries, including the USA, UK, and Canada, where most of our diaspora resides. We've been advised that while there is no blanket waiver or amnesty for overstay, persons are encouraged to apply for extensions or adjustments. We will post the links on the Ministry's social media pages and website. The European Commission has also advised that it will be accommodating visa extensions for persons who have been unable to return to their home country due to travel restrictions. For further information on these issues, please contact the embassy and consulate websites. Emails and telephone numbers have been posted online. Our advice at this time, however, is that persons with somewhere safe to stay, whether through your employers, at your university, community members, or other support network, that is the best place for you right now. Travel is in itself risky. The considerations which led to the decision to close our borders remain in place for the general protection of the Jamaican population. We ask for your patience and your understanding, as well as your broader consideration of your family, your community, and your country in this difficult time. Whether abroad or at home, regrettably, we are all experiencing extremely difficult times. You're not alone or forgotten as we stand with our citizens overseas. We are committed to do our best to protect the welfare of all our nationals overseas, as well as those at home. We also look forward to the day when local and international borders reopen. I want to thank my dedicated and hard-working consular staff at the Ministry's headquarters and at overseas missions for continuing to go beyond the call of duty to attend to the needs of our Jamaicans overseas, while trying to protect themselves from the virus. Regretfully, we do have overseas staff down with COVID-19, and some who have even lost family members, but still continue to do their best to serve the overseas community. We ask that you join us in keeping them in our prayers. Thanks also to our honorary consuls who show us daily that the spirit of volunteerism is still alive and that Jamaicans will rise to the occasion when called upon. To our diplomatic corps and our many stakeholders, thank you for showing the value of true partnership. Importantly, to all Jamaicans, let's continue to have faith as we go through these challenging times together. We are a resilient people of courage, strength, and perseverance. If we all play our part, we will pull through together.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.